This is the 20 biggest culture shocks for Americans in Europe.
To every single country
Let's
in
get
Europe
into
and
this,
spent more
man.
than 2.5 years living on the continent. This city is just magical. Gives me the goosebumps. But as an American, I got to admit, things are a little bit different here than back home. It costs $3 to use this bathroom. Of course, there are many similarities. Both the United States and Europe are leaders in innovation. They share a love for sports and produce the world's most famous movies, music, and fashion trends. Both have world-class universities, high standards of living, and share a commitment to human rights. But in this video, I want to share with you 20 cultural differences that I find between the US and the majority of Europe, all based on my own personal travel experiences. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with my thoughts.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Bitteschön.
We're here in
Fine
Salzburg,
etiquette.
Austria, at a beautiful cafe here, right on the water. But the problem is, we can't order because they don't come to your table, even if you flag them down. Drizzay, can you flag him down? He's here. Oh, Diana got him. Good job. You're so shy.
He totally ignored me too.
Is it awkward? This is actually the home of Mozart. He was born just around the corner from here. I wonder if he had to wait this long to get a table. How are you?
So wait. So they just come whenever they get ready? You can't flag them down, so how do they come to you? Like whenever they feel like you ready to order, how does that work?
And after
I'll have the same ham and cheese toast and then oh, sorry.
Two toast, two cappuccino.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And pate, thank you. It's awkward. In the US, the waiters and waitresses go over the top to make sure your experience is like top. Yeah, because they get tips. And they'll check on you every 5 minutes, like, oh, we just want to make sure everything's okay. But here in Europe, like, they don't give a about you. They basically come by, they're like, hey, what do you want?
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too. In the US, they step over your toes too much sometimes, and then you feel awkward. You're like, okay, go away. Food is finally here, and
Well, I don't know. If I'm going out and I'm paying you money to eat at your establishment, I want to get treated a certain type of way. I don't mind you being like on my bumper every 5 minutes or something, asking me, oh, is the food good? Okay, if you need anything, let me know. I like that. I appreciate that though. I wouldn't want to go to no restaurant where it's no customer service at all, bro. I gotta wait. If I don't like something, I have to wait 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. By the time you come to me, at that point, I'm pissed off.
man,
So
can't beat a cappuccino in Europe. Dudo has
You know what I'm
pate,
saying?
but he won't eat it. Meal was great.
the
Now
dog,
we're just trying
the dog don't trust it. He say, hell nah.
to pay. It's always an interesting experience. I told the guy we could pay. He goes, yes, be back.
See, I would have walked off. I would have walked off. I'd have got up and left.
Just like walking back and forth. Excuse me. How do you say excuse me in German?
Entschuldigung.
We've been trying to pay for like 15 minutes, but
Oh my god. Just
yeah, they just.
wait to raise your hand.
I raised my hand like 5 times. I might have to rely on you to do that for me. Thank you. Hi. We just have pay, please. Yeah.
Now, if I get up and leave, I'm wrong. But it's taking me 15, 20 minutes to pay. Come on, bro.
So I just got this rental car in Germany, and you have no idea how much of a pain in the ass it was to get an automatic car. Almost all the cars in Europe are manual, which I know I'm gonna get made fun of in this video because most Americans don't know how to drive stick shift, but at least they have them, that's for sure.
I don't really know how to drive stick shift that good. I know how, but I'm not like the best stick shift driver, bro. I'm kind of trash, bro.
Think about driving in America. Americans love their big trucks and SUVs, and we also drive on the right side of the road, where in Europe, it's mostly on the right side, but some countries like Ireland and the UK, it's on the left side. Driving on the Autobahn here where there's no speed limit and the cars are flying by, like just, and they drive right on your tail, and if you don't pull over, they'll just like right behind you. Pretty intimidating. I'm going 130. That car must be going 200. Also, when you're driving in Europe, you have to look out for all the little signs and the
Damn, he said he going 130.
Little bumps everywhere. It's quite different than back home. So you just
Dude
gotta
must be
really
doing
pay attention. And
200.
of course, the signs aren't all in English, which makes sense because these countries don't speak English as a first language. So you just gotta pay extra close attention to what's going on the street in front of you. See that sign on the right? What does it say?
Digital strup curb.
script.
You have metros, trams, buses, a lot of pedestrians, people on bicycles. There's a lot more going on when you're driving in cities in Europe. And also, the roads can be really, really, really narrow, like where you have to fold your mirror in just to get through a little alleyway. It's really, really stressful sometimes if you're not used to it. And you have to have really good judgment on the boundaries of your car. This is hilarious. Careful on the right side. Yeah. Okay.
Boy,
I think I gotta pull the
I wouldn't want to live here. This is a nice spot to. Well, it depends though. You know, once you get used to certain things, it ain't nothing. So I'm just speaking from being used to American driving.
the cobblestone streets are this big and the car is this big.
All right, it's time for a little gasoline experience in Europe. Check this out. So first, you pull in like usual. But the tricky thing is that most rental cars, let's say, I don't know about most cars, but rental cars take diesel, not regular gasoline. You can't f it up, otherwise the car's not gonna drive.
Diesel.
So I gotta go diesel. Choose the right one, so diesel. You put it in.
Why diesel? Wouldn't that mess the car up?
If you've noticed, I haven't paid anything yet. I have not paid a cent. I'm just coming here and putting gas straight into the car. It works on the trust system here. You fill up the tank and then you go inside and pay. So technically I could just drive off without paying. There's a lot of cameras here, so I'll definitely get caught and I'll definitely get a bill in the mail or something. But if you're in a pinch and you're in a rush and you have to get gas and you have to dip out, you could technically do it for free and not pay the bill. But that wouldn't be a good thing to do. Next thing you'll notice is the prices. It's pretty expensive.
I'm not gonna hold you. That is not holding weight in the US, boy. It's gonna be so many people on the run, so many strikers on the run, bro. That shit will run the gas company out of business, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Expensive. I'm only filling up a half tank right now of this car. It was exactly half. About $60 for a half a tank. That's expensive. And now I go inside and pay. Hello.
That's expensive as hell. And they call it petrol pump and not gas station.
To be honest, it is a pretty efficient system once you get the hang of it. Americans work longer hours and get fewer vacation days than Europeans, almost across the board. In the US, the average worker gets about 2 weeks of paid vacation per year, while here in Europe, employees often enjoy up to 6 weeks. Europeans like to call these breaks holidays, whereas we call them vacation. The two words essentially mean the same thing, but in Europe, they take their leisure time very seriously.
6 weeks of vacation? What? You can be gone a month and a half, boy. Legit enjoy your time.
If you just visit any park in any European city, you'll see people out frolicking around, having a picnic, going on a bike ride, or simply just laying there and spending the whole day outside. In America, we have this culture of being really busy and overworked and feeling like it's a good thing, like we strive for that, we want that. Where in Europe, it seems to be the opposite. Yes, you can make the argument that this is why so many innovations come from the US, because we are go-getters, which is awesome. But you could also make the argument that Europeans do enjoy their lives more. Many Americans see long hours as a sign of productivity and success. They often brag about their packed schedules and time spent at the office. Europeans, on the other hand, value downtime and believe taking time off to recharge is essential for well-being and productivity. Clearly the party's over there.
It is, man. You know, sometimes you gotta stop and enjoy what you didn't work for. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Even in some European countries like Spain, businesses will shut down for a few hours in the afternoon for a long break. In the US, this would be unheard of, where lunch is nothing more than a quick meal at your desk. The work week also differs significantly. In France and Germany, the standard work week
Some jobs you would be happy to get a break. For real.
Is about 35 hours, with strict limits on overtime. In the US, the typical work week is 40 hours, with many people working much more. America's private healthcare system is crazy expensive, whereas in most of Europe, they offer universal healthcare funded by taxes. Americans will often go to the emergency room for urgent care, while Europeans see general practitioners regularly and have easy access to local clinics. In the US, having a medical emergency can bankrupt you. In Europe,
Facts.
you're covered. Americans deal with high insurance.
And that's why a lot of the time, like people say, man, by the time some so-and-so go to the doctor, they be damn near dead because doctors are expensive, bro. You go there for a checkup or something, you leaving with a $400-500 bill, and it's just a checkup or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Premiums, copays, and out-of-pocket expenses. Many Americans will actually avoid seeing doctors because of the high costs. Europeans simply do not face these barriers. Regular checkups, specialist visits, and surgeries are generally free or at a really low cost. The focus in Europe is on preventative care and early treatment. The US system emphasizes treatment after problems arise, often leading to higher costs or worse outcomes.
Because that's how they make their money. That's how you make your money. I can't make my money if you never get sick. If I stop you from getting sick, how am I gonna get money?
Huge difference in healthcare is the cost of prescription drugs. In the US, they are so expensive, whereas in Europe and most of the world, they're way more affordable. All my American friends out there,
Sometimes that leads to more drug problems too, though. So, you know what I'm saying?
I find this one to be really shocking. You actually have to pay money to use the bathroom in Europe, and the experience is not all that enjoyable.
These urinals are pretty close together. It would not fly in the US. No space to pee.
Oh my God, it's unusual to say the best. You gotta stand up to go to the bathroom.
My first time coming to this continent, I could not believe my eyes when they were asking me to pay, usually around $1, but in Paris, I actually had to pay $4 to use the bathroom one time. And you could argue on one hand, it's nice to have clean facilities when you want to use a bathroom. I mean, nobody wants to pee in filth and dirt. But I mean, come on, paying for a bathroom is something that I just don't agree with. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think about paying to use the bathroom? Are you for it?
I ain't paying to use no bathroom, boy. I'm catching me a tree, a bush, one of them little tight ass alleys right on the side of somebody's car. Bro, I'm not paying no
Have clean facilities,
bro.
or are you against it? You just want to do your business and move on for the day.
And that bitch better be clean too.
Just want to take a
don't
quick
really
break
like
and
using
thank the
public-
sponsor of this video,
public places.
Aero. Allows you to have data. Aero using. Boom! No more worrying about roaming costs or getting local SIM cards. By using Airlo, and the best part is the code Drizzay covers US stories.
Damn.
Gun ownership is widespread and accepted in the US, protected by the Second Amendment. Many Americans view gun ownership as a fundamental right and a part of their cultural heritage.
Did you grow up around guns like with your father?
Yeah, he's the one who taught me how to handle firearms and go shooting. Everyone here grew up with them, so they understand the dangers of them, the safety, you know, what you need to be prepared with them. It's a different way of life, I would say.
In other words, guns are a mean of personal protection and a symbol of freedom. And people believe that
Everybody
having
gotta
a
have
gun
a
is
blick on
essential
them.
for defending themselves
That's
and their
true.
families. As a result, the US has the highest rate of civilian gun ownership in the world, with 121 guns per 100 citizens. However, this widespread access to firearms comes with significant consequences. For the last 5 consecutive years, there have been more than 600 mass shootings, which is defined as when 4 or more people are killed.
We are learning new details about a mass shooting.
The suspect fled, setting off a police chase before crashing into a ditch.
This statistic is really alarming, and it just shares the downside of having guns in the US. It's
Yeah.
honestly terrible and my least favorite thing if I had to pick one.
It's a good and bad thing because it does protect like people cribs and stuff, but them weirdos out there, man, you know what I'm saying? They go to schools and establishments and stuff and do crazy stuff, so you know what I'm saying?
About United States society, all the killings with guns.
Man,
it's just
you
so
know,
sad. I'm numb to the
it's hard
news
to
and I don't
protect-
even know what to say when I hear about another shooting. It's just really, really, really terrible.
I
In
don't know.
contrast,
It's hard to steer away from that. Like if you take all the guns away, right? Anybody can call it a gun, boom, okay, 10 years. A lot of people gonna be in jail because everybody not turning their gun on unless you go door to door and search everybody's stuff. Then you got to count the people that's gonna catch wind of it and then start hiding their guns and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Europe has strict gun control
Damn
laws
if you
and
do,
much
damn if you
lower
don't.
ownership rates. In fact, most European countries require extended background checks, mandatory training, and valid reasons for owning a firearm, such as hunting or sports shooting, not just a casual, everyday gun owner. These strict regulations make it difficult for the average European to own a gun or to get a gun, which as a result makes gun violence extremely rare in Europe. And I gotta be honest, it's much safer here than in the US.
Shit, till you walking and going to a store and get chefed up, motherfucker. What the hell?
Both the USA and Europe are home to a wide variety of religion.
Wow, they're just beautiful.
However, in the USA, religion is expressed more openly, with a lot of believers attending regular services. Do you guys hear that? The call to prayer. I just got goosebumps. I can't believe I'm in America right now. The US is predominantly Christian, and churches play a central role in community life, often hosting social gatherings and charity drives. Public expressions of faith are common, such as prayers at sporting events and religious symbols in schools. You'll also see that in big cities, they organize religious festivals and parades. In contrast, Europe is more secular, with a lot less religious people. Like right here in the Czech Republic, it's actually the most atheist country in the world. Over 60% of Czechs don't believe in religion. 60! This secular mindset is also clear in the politics of many European countries. Governments tend to maintain a clear separation between church and state, ensuring that religious beliefs do not influence policy. Also, in many European nations, religious education in public schools is minimal or just non-existent. As we approach the lovely Charles Bridge, let's get our facts straight on this one. The USA is definitely a car country.
100%.
The majority of Americans rely on their personal vehicles for daily commutes, whether it's to work, to a restaurant, or just to the store. We also have a crazy highway system, which makes a car kind of a necessity. This reliance on cars results in a high cost for gasoline, waiting in lines, parking, all these other things that come along with having a car for Americans. Oh, and don't get me started on traffic. It's the worst. Go to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas, New York, Chicago. Traffic is the worst.
Hey, if you go outside at the wrong time out here in Chicago, you would be sitting in traffic for like an hour or two. And that's a
Europe,
good day.
on the other hand, has extensive public transportation networks all over the place. Trams, buses, metros, rollerblades, electric scooters.
We just rented these scooters and we are flying through Rome. This is pretty awesome. Driving through the Roman Forum. Woo!
It's almost like public transportation starts and ends in Europe. It's so immaculate, so clean, so reliable, so safe, and so easy everywhere on this continent.
Cruising around Copenhagen. Yeah.
I swear, out there in Europe, it looked like if you just stay to yourself, not necessarily stay to yourself, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't fuck with nobody, people ain't gonna fuck with you. That's what it looked like out there. I could be wrong though, because you know what? His experience is not how the ends look. You know what I'm saying? He's out in like tourist spots. I'm talking about where the ends is at.
Grandma and grandpa on a bike.
Woo! Having fun.
You think it's different than America? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't ride your bikes and your cars on the same street.
As the sun starts to rise here in Prague, I'm just getting goosebumps just looking at this view. Look at this. Does not get any better than this. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, as I was saying, European cities like Prague are literally...
Wait, that moving or is that like a
Anyways,
a
as I was saying,
it's probably sitting still, but because he moved, it looked like it's moving.
European cities like Prague are literally designed with public transportation in mind. It's also super easy in Europe to take a high-speed rail train to any city. Again, I have to side with the Europeans on this one.
I am outside Dresden train station and heading to Prague, and I'm going to show you how easy and convenient it is to take a train in Europe. Let's go. When you walk in the train stations, they feel more like airport terminals. Everything in here
they look like an airport.
Want or need. Food, clothes, bakeries, and they're nice. Like you want to be inside these places. Look at it, huge. Look at this.
It look like
all the train stations here have a lovely dome. Although getting a ticket is sometimes a challenge. You just gotta figure out where to go. We're gonna go to English, then we're gonna go to from Dresden to PR Prague. Haha. It's just so easy to take a train here. Platform 13. You go here, you wait for the train,
and that's it. You show up 5 minutes before. What's cool about taking trains in Europe is that it's encouraged and everyone does it. It's just easy and simple, and you can go long distances, short distances. Europe's really got it down, and I wish the US would
take a train like an hour or two away, but we got the Amtrak and stuff though. It's not as like, I feel like the Amtrak is not as like reachable some places, because I think you got to go downtown to get to the Amtrak, so they need to spread the Amtrak out.
A train system. Yeah, we have an Amtrak, but I've never taken it. I don't really know anyone who takes it.
I've taken the Amtrak from Indiana to Chicago, which was like a couple hours. It's like a 3-hour trip.
I wish there was a train that connected Phoenix to LA, LA to Vegas, San Francisco to Seattle.
You can get on a train from Chicago and go all the way to LA. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, but you can definitely do that. So I don't know. Like he said, he don't take the Amtrak, so he can't even speak from this POV because, like he said, he don't take it. But you can take the Amtrak and go a lot of places in the world. I just want to say that.
Way more conveniently. I know on the East Coast, you guys have some stuff like that, but it would be really nice to have that in the US because taking trains in Europe is awesome. The cities are built for public transportation, which makes it easy to use. I'm just so happy I can do this.
Yeah, exactly. They cities are built for public transportation. They got like the carts and stuff, the rails built in their ground for public transportation.
Right now in Europe. If you're an American and you haven't been to Europe, you'll notice right away.
So they want us to spend money on vehicles and shit. That's why our roads is built for cars. They trying to drain the money out of us.
The public transportation is incredible and will blow your mind and fun and easy to use. And she's arriving right now. And just like that, I have arrived back in Prague, my favorite city in Europe. Easiest experience ever, highly recommended. Europe wins when it comes to public transportation, period. Next topic.
Education.
Getting a higher education in the US is really expensive, and it often leads to significant student debt. Almost all my friends, when we graduated college, we were all poor, and we had to work for like a decade just to pay off our student debt. That's the reality for many Americans who get college degrees. Believe it or not, tuition fees can be tens of thousands of dollars a semester, and it's absolutely crazy. That being said, we do have really, really great teachers, campuses, facilities, and colleges in the US overall are pretty amazing. On the other hand, Europe offers free or very low-cost education, including universities.
Basically, in the most of European Union countries, it's for free. The only condition is that you know the language of the country.
European education emphasizes...
See, but that's how it is with some US places too, though. Like, say for instance, right? I went to Purdue. I went to Purdue University. If I didn't live in Indiana, my tuition would be $40,000. I think it was either 40 or 30,000 a year or some shit like that. But I moved to Indiana, but I had to be a resident for at least a year or something like that, and then it dropped down to like 20,000, which is still expensive as ever.
Emphasizes multicultural awareness and global perspectives, with many students learning multiple languages. And that's another really cool thing about Europe is people speak many languages because the proximity to countries are so close. On the other hand, Americans live a little bit more inside their own bubbles, focusing more on national news versus international news. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have gone to a university in the US because the experience was so amazing. I made so many friends. I learned how to live on my own. I went to University of Wisconsin, which is such a great sports school. It's a party school. I was in a fraternity. Like, all these things were amazing, and it made me who I am today. But of course, I can't be a little bit jealous when all my European friends come out of school debt-free. Food for thought. Piggybacking off the last topic,
you can't beat no debt-free, bro. You cannot beat that.
Europeans really do speak many languages. In fact, I have European friends that can speak 8 to 10 languages.
This beer is very good. Das Bier ist ausgezeichnet. To pivo je výborný. To pivo очень вкусно. To pivo je veľmi dobré.
It's so mind-blowing to me because in the US, most people predominantly speak English. Feeling patriotic.
Let's go get some food.
All right.
You might have some people that learn Spanish or French if they continue to learn so in school. If they continue to try to pursue it after school, that's up to them.
I mean, I tried to take Spanish 3 in school, and they didn't even have it. Nobody wanted to finish doing Spanish but me.
But if you walk into any grocery store across America and you ask someone what language do they speak, I would guarantee you that they just say English.
Yeah.
It is true that in the US, English dominates in education, media, and daily communication.
What's it like to live out here in the countryside of Wyoming?
Oh, it's great until wintertime.
Whereas in Europe, on the other hand, it's a multilingual wonderland with multiple official languages.
Dobrodošli u Zagreb.
The country of Switzerland, for example, has 4 national languages. Most kids in Europe grow up learning 2 or 3 languages from an early age, and they can achieve fluency by adulthood. In contrast, Americans might struggle with just 1 foreign language, usually taught in high school with limited success.
Cause that's what I'm saying. You don't start as a kid, bro. Like, you don't have nobody teaching them from a child. They say as a child, they come up as a child learning 2 languages. 2, maybe 3 languages as a kid. By the time they're adult, of course, they've been to master them too, on top of whatever they learn in high school. So that's 1 to 2 more languages.
Kind of linguistic diversity in Europe is really enriching, both if you live here as a European or if you're just traveling here as an outsider. It makes it so fun and exciting. And as I've always said throughout my travels, diversity is what makes the world go round. Smoking is more common and more socially acceptable in Europe, period. Hands down. Growing up in the US, we have the DARE program, which I went through, where we are taught in 5th grade that drugs are bad and that we can't smoke and it's gonna kill us. Yeah, looking back, it may have been a little bit extreme, those classes, but they really drilled into your head how bad smoking is for your health. And it's true. In my opinion, all around Europe, smoking is more of like a...
I swear, that's so funny. I remember the DARE stuff when it first came out. But not when it first came out, because it was out before I was born, but I remember the shirts and stuff they would give out and all that stuff.
Fashion
the wristbands.
It's like a cool thing to do, and it's almost like if you're sitting with a group of friends and they offer you a cigarette, you almost have to say yes as like a cultural thing. I don't know how else to explain it. Other countries in Asia and Africa and the Middle East are similar in that regard, but I just find it really interesting how people here just smoke and they smoke and they smoke and they smell like smoke all day. At some point, it just becomes a lifestyle. In almost all indoor places in the US, aside from maybe casinos, smoking is now banned and prohibited and you cannot do it inside. Whereas in Europe, even here in Prague, there are many bars and restaurants that you can actually just light up a cigarette inside. It's really, really interesting. Here in Europe, you can also find...
I hate the smell of cigarettes, bro. I don't know how people do it, bro. The smell is just terrible.
Cigarette vending machines. How wild is that? In the US, you can find anti-smoking ads, and just to be honest, smoking is just scrutinized across the board. However, when it comes to vaping, the US might have Europe beat. I'm gonna open up this chapter on an emotional beat because I'm standing right in front of Náměstí Míru Church, where I lived and studied abroad in 2012, right down that street. This place has always been a home for me, and if it wasn't for Prague and this exact spot, then I wouldn't be here doing what I do today.
That's fire.
A lot of my love for Europe stems from the beautiful history and the old streets. Look at these cobblestones that I'm walking on.
Keep walking and look up to the right.
As an American, it is so cool and special that Europe is so old, and there's all these beautiful churches, historical monuments, buildings like this with gargoyles on top. Like, we don't have anything that looks remotely similar to this in the US, and everything in the US is new. It's just so charming to walk around and experience and see these beautiful...
Good, man. They want to knock everything down and rebuild instead of just spit shining what the fuck we got.
Buildings on every single corner. It's freaking awesome.
I love the detail. It's just amazing.
Some cities are more beautiful than others, like Prague, Paris, Madrid, Budapest, Bucharest, Romania. I find these places to be some of the most beautiful.
Spectacular views. The architecture in Prague is outstanding. Everywhere. Gives me the goosebumps.
Man, just walking around Europe is like a freaking museum.
Where are the Colosseum? Is it cool?
Damn, man. See, that's why I be saying some of them places, bro, you just got to go over there for like a week, bro. Just go for a week or something, bro, and just try to experience whatever you can, bro.
Every corner, everywhere you go, these buildings are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. In the US, we do have some old cities like New York, Boston on the East Coast, which are a few hundred years old. But we ain't got nothing on European cities. Castles, cathedrals, and ancient ruins are preserved and integrated into modern life, with governments designating money to maintain these sites.
This is the Temple of Juno, which is a Greek temple that was made in the 5th century BC. It's just absolutely incredible. Can you find anything like this in America?
Not even close. I don't think anywhere in the world you could find something like this. It's incredible.
In big American cities, you see a lot of skyscrapers and new things. But in Europe, skyscrapers are almost looked down upon. You want to keep things traditional. You don't want buildings to go above that height. All in all, when it comes to history and beautiful...
I don't see nothing wrong with that. Because why do we need a building that high for? It don't make sense.
Buildings, Europe 1, USA 0.
Wait, what was it?
When it comes to, you want to keep things traditional. You don't want buildings to go above that height. All in all, when it comes to history and beautiful buildings, Europe 1, USA 0.
It's such a different world.
I wouldn't say that. US definitely got some beautiful buildings and stuff, but he talking about the history behind the buildings. A lot of the buildings in the US that's like, you know, real memorable is like within our lifespan.
The USA thrives on big food portions and unhealthy nutrition.
That's a huge size, Grandma.
You ordered too much.
Well, that's not my lifespan, but I'm just saying, like, they not old.
Popcorn, look, we have 3 bags.
I thought they were small.
If you ever go to eat food in the US, you'll find a massive plate with a lot of calories on it. And it's kind of gross. I just think about IHOP or any like American diner, and you sit down and you order something and it's just a lot going on. And to be honest, it's reflected in the people's health. A lot of America is overweight. Go outside of any big city in the country and you will see people that are very, very large, which is unfortunate and sad.
Very, very large.
Europe, on the other hand, is clean and petite and nice. And when you eat, you just get a smaller portion of the food.
This food is absolutely delicious, fresh.
But I bet 100% that you be hungry after eating those 3 small ass appetizers.
So good, my love. A lot of times the vegetables and ingredients are much fresher and healthier and directly from the source. Not everywhere, of course, I'm generalizing a little bit, but I find this to be the case for most places compared to the US. And when you think about all this, it kind of makes sense because the fast food culture of the US caters to American lifestyles. We're always on the go. We always have like a quick second just to eat and get out of there. We don't have leisurely time to hang out and relax. Whereas here in Europe, everything is just relaxation time. You want to go to the cafe and chill with your friends. You want to go to the restaurant and hang out.
When the weather is nice in Europe, everyone, and I mean everyone, is outside enjoying their lunch, coffee, Aperol Spritz. We just sat down amongst many Germans here in the center of Clevelandburg. Everyone just enjoying the outdoors behind me.
And therefore, you do get finer and healthier quality, period. This is a topic that I'm actually really passionate about because as I get older, I'm trying to eat healthier. But when I go to the US, it's hard to eat healthy. It's just difficult. But here in Europe, everywhere you go, there's like little cafes on the corner that are selling salads and non-fried and non-greasy foods. And it just makes it a lot easier to take care of your health.
You can see that. That's something I've been trying to do too. Trying to eat a lot better, man. Take care of myself.
Europeans recycle more and they focus more on sustainability. As you can see, where you throw away your trash, there's like different bins for different things. And you'll see people actually following the rules and putting all the boxes here, all the bottles in here, and here for the trash. Just imagine how much cleaner the world would be if everybody followed Europeans' lead on this. In fact, many Europeans
They have this in the US. It's just a lot of people don't follow this shit. So I'm not gonna say like the US don't have this at all, because we do.
European countries lead in renewable energy and eco-friendly policies, making these practices just a part of daily life. It's normal for them to do these things. They don't have to go out of their way because it's built into the culture.
This city is so clean, even though there's so many tourists here, because these amazing ladies that are just cleaning the city all day long.
Most European countries have strict rules on single-use plastics, promote reusable items, and have good public transportation that reduces car pollution.
Getting on the tram here, a beautiful old historic tram of Prague, gives it all the charm in the world.
Green spaces in cities encourage outdoor activities and help improve air quality. In the US, let's just say that we don't care so much about recycling, and it's really a shame. This might be changing in recent generations, but even myself, growing up, we only recycled like big things, like a cardboard box or a big carton of milk. We didn't actually like collect everything separately and put it in different trash cans. We would just throw a water bottle in the same trash can that we would throw food waste. In the US, I see a lot of people littering and not taking care of the streets. And for such a big country with 350 million people, you can imagine the massive impact that it has on the world. I will say that some places in the US do put recycling forward, but overall as a society, as a nation, I think we are light years behind Europe. And this might not be a problem for us in today's world, but for our kids' generation, it's detrimental.
Recycle, please. We do care about Earth.
Many
Fashion,
Americans dress really casually, like myself. Baseball cap, regular shirt or athletic shirts. I'm wearing yoga shorts right now. A lot of Americans love to rep their universities or their sporting teams. And that's just how we are. You know, hoodies, regular shoes, socks, shorts. Europeans, on the other hand, are really fancy. And when they dress up to go to dinners and to go out and just to like, whenever they leave their house, even if they go to the grocery store, they just present themselves nicer and they have fancier haircuts and they're more elegant looking. And personally, I feel a little bit,
I don't think that's 100% true. I guess it just depends on where you at.
like an outsider in some situations when I go sit outside on a cafe and everyone's looking nice and I'm just there, like clearly there's an American dude that shows up, but this is usually how they can pick out Americans from the crowd in any city in the world. It's like how they dress.
Everything's so posh and fancy here. I feel like I stand out wearing my Be Spontaneous shirt. We stumbled upon a wedding and I don't think we fit in very well. Everyone's dressed super nicely.
Yeah,
This is also reflected in the
saying.
workplace, in the work environment, where in the US, a lot of companies are more casual with like jeans and just a regular shirt, whereas in Europe, they take fashion more seriously and people have to dress up, look nicer, and hey, there's nothing wrong with looking nice, you know? There might be many Americans watching this out there that really like looking nice, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I was just finna say this. Thank you for saying that, Drew, because I was finna say this right here does not apply to everybody. But sometimes when I do go to the grocery store, I'll be looking homeless. I'll be looking like, I'm just saying, I look like I don't give a damn. Sometimes when I go to the grocery store, there be holes in my jacket. Yeah, like, okay,
But
never
saying,
mind. He
overall,
might be
as a
right.
society, Europeans
be
care
right.
a lot more about their looks. Random
might be
side
right.
note, this tower,
I'm gonna start looking
Tower in
good
Prague,
every time I go out though.
is a really awkward looking building, and you can see there's black babies going up and down the side of it right there. Really, really weird and funky. Let's look in this circle, for example. All the houses are really nice and neat. Most of them are just apartments. The buildings are right next to each other. Everything's kind of laid out perfectly nicely. There's plazas, people are reading in the park, sitting in their little chairs. It almost feels like a fake life, like you would see in a movie, like a giant movie set. That's how it feels here in most of Europe. Wow, that is...
Wow, so cool.
And it's nice. It's nice to hang out, walk around, and sit down. It's freaking beautiful. A lot of the buildings are really old. They've been here for many years, and that's just how they are.
This is the lovely Prague Castle, the oldest castle in the entire world. First time in Milan, chilling by the famous Duomo. This really epic looking old structure. A dream come true trip right here.
A lot of times the buildings will have these cool like statues and gargoyles and sculptures like inside of it just because of the history of Europe is really old and cool. And I think that's pretty awesome. One thing that I really don't like about the situation in Europe is that they don't have AC almost anywhere. In Prague, in summer right now, we've been suffering because they just say like, oh, it's only 6 weeks of the year, it's hot, but like it's freaking burning in there. And yes, I sound like a spoiled American right now talking, but it's miserable.
Bro, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Clean here. Almost everywhere you go in the US.
Wait. No, well, no, it can't be. No AC nowhere. I can't believe that. That's not true. That can't be true.
Aside from some of the big cities on the East Coast, everything's new. The buildings are new, which means they can be fancier, which means they can have better circulation, air conditioning, insulation, all these things. In the US, we love our patios and our decks outside, and we just like to have a room for things.
I literally cannot believe how big these houses are.
Whereas in Europe, you don't really get that. You might get a little balcony that you can sit outside. Other than that, you're really just confined to a smaller space. In your flat, which is what they call apartments here, they call them flats. We also have huge appliances like dishwashers and washing machines that are really big and nice to use. Also dryers. You cannot find those all over Europe. A lot of times they hang their clothes to dry.
Oh, wow.
Many American homes also have big kitchens, taller ceilings, things like that. Whereas in Europe, things are a little bit more tighter and condensed because everyone tends to live like in the city center, especially if there's apartments and stuff. You just have less space in general. Like America's everything's big. Like Texas, things are bigger in Texas.
Big cars in Texas. They definitely party big in Texas.
Whereas here in Europe, everything's kind of petite.
That's all the water we get. Like just a tiny little...
Yeah, in America, it's always like this big, like my face.
Yeah, like I was just gonna say, like, well, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you be full off the appetizers before the food even come. They give you like unlimited bread with damn butter and shit, bro. You be gone.
Big.
But if I had to pick one, Europe all the way. Look how nice this is. I can't get over this spot. Fantastic. For some weird reason, America uses the imperial system, which means measuring distance in miles, weight in pounds, and volume in gallons. It's so funny to me because most of the world has no idea what any of this is. Here in Europe and almost everywhere else in the world, they use the metric system. That means covering distances in kilometers, weight in kilograms, and volume in liters.
Yeah, this be throwing me off, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all be coming into my chat talking about kilometers and shit. And I'll be like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
All of these things can be pretty confusing for Americans traveling in Europe and vice versa. But if you want to be a more worldly citizen, I'm talking to you Americans, you should try to learn the metric system. It's really helpful for travel. And it's also very simple and convenient, based on units of 10, making calculations and conversions much easier. Also, don't forget that in the US, we use Fahrenheit to tell weather.
It's minus 22
And they use
degrees
Celsius.
I can't feel my hands or my face.
Right now, it's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. But in Europe and the rest of the entire world, they use Celsius, or right now it's probably around 30 degrees. Luckily, I know both because I've been traveling the world for 12 years, so it's easier for me to have conversations with non-Americans about things like weather. But this is always something that confuses me about the US, and I think it's just because we like to be bigger and greater and different than everyone else in the world. In the US, coffee is consumed on the go, with people grabbing their morning cups from drive-through places.
Any kind of hot coffee.
Americano,
I'll have a latte.
They're just quickly running into Starbucks, ordering on the app, and running out.
Yep.
We also pretty much only consume coffee in disposable paper cups. In Europe, it's a whole different story.
So you always drink it while standing at the bar.
It's cheaper that way.
It's that bitter taste, just like goes through your veins. It's like one sip wakes you up. I'm serious.
This is like a perfect cappuccino with the foam top. Look at this. First bite of a cappuccino has to be with a spoon.
The coffee culture is alive and real here, but people take their time when they drink and they see it as more of like a social thing. Even if they're by themselves, they'll still go to the street.
I know I definitely get my coffee through the drive-through, boy. I be scanning my points and shit. Boop. Yep. Next time I come through, free coffee.
Corner, sit down at a cafe outside, of course, enjoying the beautiful day, and get a coffee, and they'll just sit there and either read or work. It's more of like an enjoyable leisure activity. They always have like coffee mugs. Of course, the Europeans don't like waste with plastic and paper. They always just have everything feel more proper and more solidified. And it's all about the experience, of course.
Got the
That's
coffee,
grease right
bringing
there.
it down to grandma.
When it comes to breakfast in the US, everything is really heavy and greasy. Think about omelets, think about breakfast burritos, pancakes, hash browns, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. These are heavy, heavy, heavy items that make you really full and have a lot of calories.
That's true.
All the flavors of cheese and beans and eggs and sauce on one plate.
In Europe, breakfast is nothing more than a little pastry.
Buttery, flaky, puffy pastry.
Because breakfast is not supposed to fill you up, bro. Breakfast is supposed to put something on your stomach to start your day so you can get moving, give you a little bit of energy, a jolt of energy or something. It's not supposed to fill you up, bro.
Or a little cookie or something sweet.
This is everything I want right now. A small espresso and a chocolate croissant. It's so great.
It's so different. And it's funny, like here in Europe, all the breakfast places that you'll go to, like good breakfast places are like American branded. It'll be like American breakfast, American sausage, American scrambled eggs. The breakfast is one of the biggest differences that I find between Europe and the US. It's crazy different. In Europe, if it's not a croissant, it's just like a piece of fruit or a little bit of cheese or one slice of bread.
Soft and mushy, absolutely worth it.
I ain't gonna lie. I need me a bigger breakfast than that. I'm not doing no piece of bread, bro. Give me a egg sandwich or something. Like, I don't know, something, bro.
I will say though that the bakeries in Europe are awesome. They're amazing. They actually bake bread fresh every day in most countries around Europe. So it smells good on the streets and you know that you're getting quality bread. It's not like processed, it's not like ordered on a big truck and shipped over. So I definitely side with Europe on this one. Although I got to admit, I do love Starbucks. This one really makes me feel ashamed to be American in Europe. Why are we so loud and obnoxious? Like, we have to like scream when we're coming out of the bars at night, and we have to like be picking fights in bars and be like, America. I really don't like this about American culture for whatever it is. I don't know why we always have to be the loud guys and the good guys. I think Brits and Aussies are kind of similar in this regard. But when it comes to Europeans, they're much quieter. Like, there could be a lot of people out and about, but they're not like screaming and chanting. They're just like sitting, enjoying their beer, their wine, and just like hanging out. I like that culture.
Thank you.
In general, Europeans are just more reserved. And when you're dining, people just don't talk that loud. They just keep to themselves. It's kind of nice. Social guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because if we dining and we going crazy, boy, we having a ball, boy, you gonna know we having a ball, boy. We gonna be, hell no, nigga, pass the ketchup.
Gatherings in America are loud and energetic. But in Europe, people are more respectful of other people's personal space. I also think the contrast in behavior can be seen in customer service, where American employees are typically more enthusiastic and outgoing, and they kind of won't stop talking to you. It's all that like fake conversation, like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, what are you up to today? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we should hang out later. It's very American to be like fake in that regard. This really drives me crazy about Americans. And
that is true. That is true. Motherfucker make a conversation out of nothing.
When I'm home, I feel really out of my element. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that, but like going to the grocery store, I don't need to like share my life story with the lady checking out. Like just check out, you go on with your day, I go on with my day. I don't need to like tell you what my plans are later and how my work is going and all that. Like Americans see this as being friendly, but for me, I just see it as pointless conversation that just doesn't need to happen because you don't know that person. If you know them and they're in your friend group and circle, it's different. European.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of random conversations either. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a huge fan of that shit. I don't fuck with it. I'll be like, all right, okay, I get my stuff and then I leave.
Cut through all that bullshit.
Unless you an elderly person. If you're an elderly person and you just want somebody to talk to, I'll sit there and listen to you for a minute before I make an excuse to get up out of there.
Shit. Especially staff at a restaurant or anywhere on the street interactions are a lot more formal and blunt, and it could be considered rude, but I don't know, I kind of like it.
Wait, look, the risotto with the meat risotto.
The risotto.
Another example is if you're on the train in Europe, people are just gonna sit and keep to themselves, kind of like in Asia. But in the US, people might be talking on the phone loudly or hanging out with their bros. And like, I guess for me, I prefer to be more on the quieter side. I don't like to be obnoxious in front of people. I think I get this trait from my mom, who doesn't want to be like the center of negative attention, which is a good thing. But it's definitely a stark difference between how Americans act.
I mean, it just depends on the type of attention you getting and who you getting it from, because that attention could lead to something good, you know? Like, you never know who you're on a train with. They might be looking for somebody that's outspoken or something like that. You never know. You feel me?
In public and how Europeans act in public. And this is one of the biggest differences between Europe and the US that I see. And I definitely side with Europeans on this one. Of course, another disclaimer is not every European and every American is like this. I'm very much generalizing,
That's true.
okay?
That is true.
But this is just what I see and what I've experienced from spending 2.5 years in Europe.
Irving inside the layup. Oh, how did that go in?
Saving one of the best topics for last because I am a huge sports.
If you talking about sports, it gotta be the US, bro. Gots to be the US, bro. We have so many, bro.
Fan, athlete, I've played many sports and I love watching sports. It's a little bit different in America versus Europe. I will say that there are passionate fans respectively. But of course in Europe, it's all about football, or as we say it in the US, soccer. It's super popular here. The Euro Cup just happened. Fans are like crazy, crazy, crazy passionate about their country, about their inner leagues, about football or soccer. All around Europe and the whole world, really.
Yeah,
in the US, it's primarily basketball, baseball, American football, emphasis on the American football because that sport is really only played in the US. And of course, like golf and tennis, but these are popular in both places.
Horton, hook 'em horns!
Sports that are common between the US and Europe are hockey, basketball, tennis, and golf. I think those four sports are really active and played among the average Joe in the countries and also for professionals. Europe also has regional sports like rugby and cricket, which you can find in certain regions, but not all over Europe. Here's a major difference though. In the US, college sports are huge. I went to the University of Wisconsin. We went to 3 Rose Bowls during my college years, which is American football.
College is huge.
It's like a big event for those non-Americans out there. We also have really big hockey and we have really big basketball and we go to March Madness every year. And like, I went to a lot of games as a kid. In fact, I chose Wisconsin because of the sports. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to go to a school with great sports. I'm a passionate sports fan. European sports are like dead. I don't even know if there are competitions of like European basketball or other teams. I actually
The Olympics is going on right now.
Don't think that exists. And if it does exist, please let me know because I've never heard about it. On big college campuses in the US, we have massive games that are publicly televised to millions of people and there's a lot of things happening.
I don't know if
around the stadiums. There's tailgating and pre-gaming and all the restaurants and bars are busy near the stadiums and it's like a cultural immersion thing when there's a game on a college campus. I will say though, the energy and excitement around any European football match is unparalleled to anything that we can find in the US. I haven't been to many, but I have seen them on TV and I have many friends who have gone and I know that the environments are crazy. In Europe, the football teams often have deep historical roots in their communities, which honestly creates a strong sense of identity and pride because these teams have been around for hundreds of years. So it kind of makes sense. In the US, all the big sports are really like big businesses when you think about it, and that's why teams relocate and change names. It's all about the money. In any regard, the cultural importance is clear for sports, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Europe, and I find the way that it's expressed is really, really interesting. All right, and that wraps up the cultural differences between the USA and Europe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun for you to make it. Keep in mind that this is all coming from my own personal travel experience. As an American and someone who's spent over 2.5 years in Europe, traveling around, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Which one do you prefer to live in, travel in, or just be in? For me, I always prefer to travel in Europe, but when it comes to the conveniences of everyday life and just where it hits home more with family, friends.
I know for a fact, Europe got like a lot of basketball going on over there. So
sports and everything else,
he don't
I
go
gotta
to a
say,
lot of the
full on
games,
Americano.
like he said,
I love you all, and I'm looking forward to your comments in the video down below, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
This was a good video though. Fire.